The Nipua Access TV or Nactv is a community television station based in Nipua, Manitoba, which has been serving the local community since 1977. Operated by a volunteer board and supported by 4 full-time staff members along with a team of dedicated volunteers, NACTV provides valuable local programming and serves as a vital resource for residents. During their annual general meeting or AGM on October 24, 2024 at Kinsmen Kourts 2, the NACTV board staff and volunteers discussed the challenges faced over the past year, particularly financial difficulties. However, despite these setbacks, there is a strong sense of optimism surrounding the station's future. The AGM highlighted the potential opportunities available to the station, particularly through its ongoing projects and community engagement. Despite financial challenges, NACTV remains optimistic about the future and committed to its mission of providing a platform for local voices and stories. The station encourages those interested in supporting local media and community programming to consider volunteering or making donation to help sustain its operations moving forward.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. People in the back, can you hear me? People in the very back, can you hear me? Hey, okay, cool. I want to thank you all for coming tonight. My name is Bill Sirik, and I'm the president of NACTV, and tonight is the Volunteer Appreciation and Annual General Meetings. Give yourselves a round of applause. Thank you. So, we're gonna start the meeting, just kick right into it here and go on our agenda here. We've gone through the arrival. You've all arrived. Congratulations. Thank you very much. And next up is the approval of the minutes from the last AGM. Have you all had a chance to look at that? If not, now's the chance. Otherwise, do we have a motion to accept the AGM? We'll go with John, seconded by Dave. All right. Are there any questions arising from last year's AGM minutes? I know a majority of you weren't here, but that's not the point. We have to ask. Okay, so moving right along, we will make a motion to accept. It's been motion, seconded, approved. Moving on to the next business would be the financial and bingo reports. And for this, I will hand over the mic to Karina.
Oh yeah, well, we're moving along. Come on. Yeah.
Moving along.
Sit up, Dalio.
All right, good evening. Okay, the financial report. To start, a business high-interest savings account was opened in January to keep the amount of the jackpots and toonie pots separate from the regular bingo account and to earn interest. Once a month, the accumulated prize amount, which is $2 per package sold, is transferred to the savings account. So that was one of the things that we did. Now we're going to go to the financial statements, and I know there's not enough, but I think there's one for tables. You might just have to hold it up for everybody to share and look at it. So.
No, come on, let's go.
Okay, compilation engagement report. You can read that at your own leisure. That just tells you that I didn't put this together. But it's based on our figures. Okay, so you have the assets page, and you see our cash is $51,000, accounts receivable, $1,500, prepaid expenses, $683. Property, plant, and equipment is the $27,363. If you go to page 5, you'll see that that represents the equipment cost minus the accumulated amortization, or what used to be known as depreciation. That account is lower than last year because we fixed that account or adjusted it so that only fixed assets of $500 or more were retained in that asset account, because we had some weird things in there that were really not fixed assets. So to make it a little bit more representative of the financials, we adjusted the records for that. So that brought down the amount for that property, plant, and equipment value as well. That depreciation is based on 15% applied to those remaining fixed assets. And that will be something we'll be doing from now on, which we haven't done before, but again, in the interest of making the report a little bit more what it should be, we will be doing that from now on. Okay, so that gives us assets of $80,645. If you go to page 2, you'll see we have our liabilities there. So our accounts payable, which is reasonable. The accrued liabilities is of $39,465 is for the accumulated bingo pots. So that high interest savings account that we opened is matched with this accumulated or accrued liabilities, because we have to set it aside for the lotteries to show them that we have enough money to cover our jackpots if somebody were to win. So that's what that accrued liabilities is. We have the money in the bank, but it's not technically ours, because if somebody wins a jackpot, we have to pay that out, and that's where that money's going to get paid out from, or where that money is going. And then the employee deductions payable, simply because at the end of August, there's some expenses there for income tax and CPP and EI that needs to be paid eventually. We pay it quarterly. So that leaves us $49,476, and then the surplus, or what is called retained earnings in some cases, would be the $31,169, and that gives us a balance of the $80,645 to balance our assets with our liabilities. On page 3, we have the statement of operations, which lists our revenue and our expenses into a few categories here. If you kind of want to look through it, if you have any questions on it, you can ask them at this point as well. I don't really want to read through them all, but the revenue was generated or listed at $250,602. Our expenses were at $269,522. That gave us a loss for the year of $18,920. We had hoped to get a Google agreement settlement. It's taking longer than anticipated, and we did not get the summer student grant, so we are going to have to take some closer looks at that. And our royalties are also down from down $7,000 over last year. Our payroll and wages are up about $21,500, and all the other expenses combined were only up about $1,000. There's some other things in there, but that's the general gist of this particular one for us for the end of August 31st. And the other 2 pages, it shows that loss and the surplus at the beginning of the year. So the surplus at the end of the year is brought down to $31,169, which is similar to retained earnings. And that's the financial report. So if anybody would like to ask any questions, I will definitely try to answer them.
Anybody?
And if there are no questions, then I move that we accept the financials as read. And Wayne will second it. Okay.
Don't need a vote. That's it. Moving on.
That's it. Okay, bingo report.
Was you?
It's me, so I'll just
Would you like to stand up?
grab the bingo report.
Okay. I'll just stay out of your way.
Oh, I just want to say one last thing in regards to that, the financial report. It's not really on the financial report thing, but I have a nice little sentence written here for you guys. The board needs new members to take on roles of exploring new options for Nactv and its future success. I hope there are some here who will let their names stand when nominations are called and will take up that challenge. So we do need a group of people that we can brainstorm ideas and keep Nactv viable. Okay, now moving on to the bingo report. Okay, numbers We're up over last year with 114 packages per week on average being sold compared to 101 and 100 the previous 2 years, which is good news. Brandon Superstore Lottery Kiosk agreed to sell bingo packages for a commission. So a commission of 60 cents per package sold was approved, and other distributors were asked if they wanted a commission as well. As of June 12th, when we started doing the commission, 2 distributors have said yes, and their sales account for about 54% of total sales. And it's nothing really else to report on the bingo sales there, how it's doing. I just would like to say our bingo volunteers for the phones are committed, and a big thank you goes out to Olive, Eleanor, and Chris, and recently Ashley, who has also decided to volunteer on phones, as well as to help make bingo packages. And just tonight, I heard that there's an audience member who's volunteered to help with bingo calling. So I'm really excited because he's gonna learn this next Wednesday. And that concludes my report. Unless there's questions.
Okay, does anybody have any questions in regards to bingo? Yes.
I have a comment to make because the people I deal with who have relatively young people in their circle, there's amazing the number of people who are under 25 who have now started to play and enjoy our bingo. I know that one of the billet mums of the hockey players from the Titans, if they're available on a Wednesday night, they will buy a package, and they find playing bingo is just an absolute hoot.
I think I actually seen a Facebook post of just one of those nights that you were talking about, and the reaction on that was just overwhelming. It was, the hockey team did have a bingo night at one of the billet moms' places, and she shared it on Facebook, and I want to say there was almost 100 likes on that, on those photos in itself. So
it's a good social event.
It is a good social event, and if you know some friends that want to play bingo but they don't have a TV or things like that, invite them over to your place. Make it a social evening. That's all you need to do. That simple. You guys can share the phone call in. It's fine. Just don't fight over it. Anyways, any other questions, comments in regards to bingo? I'm not wearing my glasses, so I'm trying really hard to see if there's any lines up. So, moving right along. Anyways, thank you, Corinne, for your reports. Moving right along to the LGI report, we have Rain and Leeway. Thank you.
I get to go first. So LJI, there's probably many people here, new faces, who don't actually know what LJI is. This is the Local Journalism Initiative, and this is an initiative through the federal government and administered by different organizations to fund journalists in news deserts, such as small towns and subject matter that is not covered by regular news outlets. So we are fortunate enough in Nipawin that we have been funded through LJI for one position myself for 3 years now, and then an additional position as of the middle of last year, which is Leeway. So we work exclusively on news content and journalistic content in whatever form that might take, through video, editing, social media, interviews, outreach, all that, education, everything like that. So that's what LJI is. The initial funding period through the federal government was 5 years. At our last AGM, I had to report that the funding was going to run out in March, and we had no idea what was going to happen. During the course of this year, it was renewed for an additional 3 years. So yes. So while we do reapply for our positions every year, the funding is now available. We're midway through the first of those 3 years. You will have seen a lot of LGI content on your TV stations and on YouTube. These are the things like the interviews that we do, coverage of local councils, coverage of events such as the hospital gathering today. They talked about the new hospital. That's the kind of things that we do, as well as do education for teaching people how to do camera or sound for interviews, how to do various of these things, how to write a news story. That is all part of the local journalism initiative. So that is your introduction to what we do, and I believe Levi has a report on some of the specific things we've done this year.
Watch your step.
Yeah, so as Rain mentioned, I became part of the local journalism initiative July of last year to cover stories of minority and underrepresented groups in the area. Through this project, I was able to do some interviews about Filipino culture and traditions during Filipino Heritage Month celebration, then a story about our Filipino artists in the area, and other stories of immigrants like Pastor Vlad Makiev, who came from Ukraine and shared his journey to Canada, and shared some of their Ukrainian Christmas traditions, which I worked with Lyle Watson in getting some perspectives and from different cultures about their Christmas traditions. We partnered with the Nipowa settlement, where I was able to interview some of their staff to discuss their programs and services to our newcomers, including one-on-one interviews to talk about the issues and concerns of our temporary foreign workers and permanent residents. And then another thing is that we do this year is John Drinkwater and I produce a program called Inclusivity in the Classroom, where we interview teachers and staff at the Nipowa Middle School about an inspiring story on how they provided support to their one and only deaf student in the school to make sure that there is an inclusive learning environment for everyone. And that's my son. That's why I know his story. Okay, and then we have also partnered with Home Assistance Nipowa and District, our hand, with Michelle Kasprik, who really helped me because I talked to her. I'm also part of the Handy One board, and Michelle and I got to discuss about things that we can maybe do for Nactv, like seniors update for giving some information about the available resources or grants for the seniors, and we work with Dave also to get that information for the hearing aids and the lifeline. And then Michelle told me that after those programs, she received a lot of calls inquiring how they can get those hearing aids and other stuff. So that was good, and I thank Michelle Kasprik. She's not able to attend tonight, but thank you, thank you, Michelle. We also had a seniors consultation with Jody Byram on September 20th, which provided a platform for our seniors in the area to voice out their concerns to our MLA and also to the town of Nipowa. So LGI's objective is not only to create awareness about different local civic issues, but also to provide a platform to ensure that the voices of the underrepresented sectors are heard and considered in the decision-making process. So we thank MLA Byram and the town of Nipowa for being part of this engagement process, and we hope that this will open doors for more consultations in the near future. So for those who would like to get involved with our local journalism initiative project, just call us at Nactv. Rain and I will be happy to work with you. Thank you. Thank you.
So does anyone have any questions for us about LJI or the programming that we're doing right now? Yes, Dave?
Now, are you doing, town and?
Yes, we were used to be doing once every 3 months in North Cypress, Langford, and Rosedale. Then we went to every other month, and now we're at both of them every month. So we cover all the Rosedale Council meetings, all of North Cypress, Langford, and all of the Nipowa Council meetings. And we also do an additional program for the Nipowa Council meetings that we sort of talk a bit more about the issues and give a bit more information about things. Actually, yes, we started a new program last year called Schooled, which Levi kind of briefly touched on. One of the programs was about inclusivity in the classroom, where we had school board members for one of the programs come in and talk to us, and they sort of expressed at that time that they would be open to us going to, maybe not every school board meeting, but certainly some of the school board meetings. So that door has now been open for us. We also did another program through the school series that we did, which was a monthly series, where we did technology in the classroom. And we ended up being a 3-part series covering all kinds of issues and benefits of the technologies in the classroom. So there's been a really good relationship forming with the schools and the school board. Anyone else? You sure? Going once? Yes, Chris?
I know the answer, but I want you to give it to us. Our local television station has been covering Neepawa Council for years.
Mm-hmm.
But LJI would not recognize that as part of your programming.
Okay.
Has that changed?
No, and the reason for that is it was already existing programming when we started. The reason she's asking this is LJI, we have sort of a number of hours we need to produce each month that are sort of LJI programming qualifying for news programming. So, if we film a sports event, that's not news content. And the reason we can't count the Neepawa Council meetings and also Story Behind the Stories and our council checkup is because those were existing programs before we joined LJI, so they weren't newly formed as a result of this grant.
Because we've done such a good job,
We get to do more.
we get
And we do not struggle to meet that quota, I have to say. Yeah, we don't struggle to have enough content. There's certainly tons of stuff going on. Anyone else? All right, thank you all very much.
I love how we're moving along so nice and fast here. So, at this time, the one, the only, the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Ken Waddell and his management report.
Thank you. My wife muttered that I haven't mythed as much as people think I have. Anyway, whatever. I have a verbal report tonight. I got it written out here, but I wanted to kind of sense the tone of the room and hear all the other good stuff. I had an idea of what was coming, but it's never quite in your head until you hear it. Anyway, but there's been a lot of changes over the years with Nactv. As you probably know, we're well over 40 years in existence now. And of course, there's a number of people over the years that contributed heavily to making it happen. Some of you are here in this room tonight. We used to have a lot of volunteer labor. We still have some, but not very much compared to the paid video and editing work that's done. And something that people don't realize, and I think that LGI is having a little trouble, the headquarters is having a little trouble with this, is sure you could shoot an hour's program or 2 hours of programming, but it probably takes you another 2 hours or more to edit it, especially if it's a video in adverse sound conditions with wind noise or background noise or whatever. It takes a lot of work. So before I go any further, I want to thank our board and certainly our staff for doing a tremendous job of keeping the TV station front and center and doing quite well. My job is to be grumpy old man when the feathers hit the fan. That's basically it. That's no surprise to most of you. I've played that role a few times in the community. But anyway, so there's been a lot of changes, as I said, to both the video and the editing. I think the quality and certainly the quantity of videoing over the years has increased. I'm pretty proud of what we're doing now. And not that the programs of 10 or 20 years ago weren't good, but I think that we've done a lot that is quite good quality. With the LGI and the Canadian Broadcast Rights Association royalties, those are our two biggest, as you can see from the financial statement, the two largest sources of income. Probably our largest source of income years ago might have been the talent night or the business canvas, and those are still important, but they're not as big as they were, and they're not nearly the percentage of what these others. The only thing concerning me about LGI is that it's a government program, and it may run out. It's good that we've got a couple more years here, 3 more years, but they can change. CBRA seems to be going down, and I have trouble understanding why that is, because we're doing 24 hours a day, and the amount of programming is up from what it was when we started with CBRA. We'll see how much money they're going to send us. I think the first or second week of December, there's another payment coming. But speaking of payments, it's noted there that we have $51,000 in cash, but just to explain a little deeper what Karina was saying, there is a large amount of that cash is not touchable because it has to be kept in reserve, because the bingo pots are pretty darn high right now. And that's good because it attracts more sales, but that cash appears on our financial statements. But it's not cash we can use. It has to be kept in reserve to cover the grants, or cover the bingo prizes. The board has changed a lot over the years. Used to do more fundraising than they do now. But we're looking for board members to do fundraising, yes, but to bring us content and bring us more volunteers. We have a staff of 5, I guess, right now. And we have good staff, and we're very pleased with that. But they may change their mind and want to go working somewhere else someday, and you got to always be aware of the fact that there may be new staff required. The other thing that's financially there, it doesn't show on the financial statement, but is that sometimes when we run out of money, we're into our line of credit. We have a $25,000 line of credit with Stride Credit Union, and that was established quite a number of years ago. And we're very rarely into it, but we are into it right now, for example, because we're waiting on some more LGI money. We're waiting on the CBRA money. And CBRA stands for Canadian Broadcast Rights Association. It's an organization that under the CRTC legislation, Canadian Radio and Television Commission, the cable networks that carry our signal are required to pay a few pennies an hour towards a fund, and then it's allocated to, they're required to pay based on all the television they carry, not just ours, of course, and then it's allocated by a committee. And so we get a check 2 times a year from Canadian Broadcast Rights Association, which isn't a government agency. It's not a cable network agency. It's a board involving member stations across the country. We are one of the only, or very few, TV stations left in the country, independent stations, and we cover over 500,000 people through Bell MTS. We're not sure of how many through WCG. They're a little tight with their figures, but it'll sure be nice to know what they do have. But unless Rain has heard something what they are, I certainly haven't. And then we're online as well with our YouTube channel, and so it's available to a lot of people. I would estimate available to 600,000 homes. And we know through some figures that we got a while ago from MTS that a very high percentage of people watch Nactv, and also that they at one time had a couple of hundred channels, and we certainly were in the top 50. So there's times when there's 150 channels on MTS that are watched less than Nactv, which I find hard to imagine, but their figures, not mine. Thank you for the privilege of being able to be involved with Nactv, and I try to do my best. Many of you know that I'm 76 years old now, and but we were stupid enough to buy a 3rd newspaper this summer, so we're trying to look after 3 newspapers and help somewhat with the television station as well. So if we get behind in our messages sometimes, or don't get back to you quick enough, I apologize, but we're there to try and do our best. And anyway, and thank you on a personal note. Thank you for all the support that many of you have given us, because as Chris is with me here tonight, and she's been with me all day. Actually, we started our day at 8 o'clock this morning, traveling to Virden and back and delivering papers and conducting business. But she's doing pretty good for a lady who had major cancer surgery in January and 6 months of chemotherapy. She's a tough old girl, and so we're glad we're there.
Thank you for that, Ken. Does anybody have any questions, comments? For Ken, not me.
I'd be happy to try to answer.
Okay, I'm just gonna switch things around here a bit. The next item in line was supposed to be any new business, but I think I'm going to jump in with some closing remarks at this point here before we get into the elections and such. To reiterate what Ken was saying, the support of volunteers, very, very much needed. And Karina said it, Ken has said it, I'm saying it too, is we would appreciate your volunteering in any capacity that you're willing to provide, whether it be a board member, whether it be a camera person, whether it be in the studio and working on the board, or whether it's answering the telephone, or anything that you are willing to try just to be able to get your foot in the door, so to speak. We are more than willing to have you and welcome you with open arms. To follow up on some of the financials that Karina relayed earlier tonight. As I was coming to Neepawa from Winnipeg here, it was kind of going in my head over the figures, and it came to mind that if we did not have the LJI program, and if we did not have the $20,000 CEVA grant forgiven to us, we would have lost $50,000 this year. And a large part of it is due directly or indirectly to the lack of volunteers. There's been a declining number over the years, and it is really starting to hurt our budget. We still work together as a team. You know, the staff has picked up numerous roles that volunteers used to have, and it's not because, you know, well, we'll just do it ourselves or anything like that. It's just because the volunteers have gone south in numbers, and I'd really like to see that picked up again. And so I am just requesting to you all, if there's anything that you can help out with in any capacity, even if you're not sure, you're more than welcome to question us. Just call us at the station here, and we'll be more than happy to try to find a role for you if you're not sure what you want to do, or if there is something you want to do, let's give it a shot. Okay. Other than that, for the volunteers that have been around all year, I can't thank you guys enough for the amount of hours and time that you've put in, and look forward to continue working with you. As some of you may or may not have known, I moved to Winnipeg about a year ago, and it turns out that I just missed this region so much, I'm coming back. So I will stay on board and continue to help out in any way, shape, or form that I can. And now that I'm back in town, I can actually be a little more effective in my role as well. So, you know, I'd love to see you guys all, you know, helping out as well. So, anyways, moving right along. Any further questions? It's your last chance to put me on the spot and ask me questions and see. Oh, sure, you're the first one. Okay, fine. I'll move this back now.
Much appreciated.
It's that height thing.
This is not actually a question for you at all. I just wanted to make sure that we had an opportunity within our agenda to give anyone out there a chance to speak, if anyone has anything that they would like to say to the assembled group.
Oh, that's what new business was.
Yes, that's what new business was. Unfortunately, our mic does not reach that far. I can get part way.
That's okay. That's all right. I think you all know who I am.
Just in case.
If you don't, my name is Jean Borkhardt, and I was a member of Nactv for I don't know how many years. It's in the record. It's in the book, I should say. You know, there's a song, it's in the book. Anyway, my husband, Pastor Alvin Borkhardt, just recently died in July. And I have an article here that was put in the newspaper. Be a part of it, not a part. And that was his motto for many, many years. We came to Nipoa in 1984, and the president of our Lutheran church said, don't retire where you've served. And we said, why? We love Nipoa. We love being in the congregation here, so anyway, we stayed here. And a few years down the road, our daughter got sick, and we were so happy that we were here. But the article was in the July 19th paper, and be a part of it, not a part, and that was our motto. My husband felt, if you live in a community, be a part of it, not just sit back and sit on your hands and do nothing. And that's, NACTV has come a long way from when we first started. And when I think back, it was Ivan Trail who decided to broaden our TV area, and so that people going down to the States could watch their kids play hockey or whatever, you know, I mean, and it's been an amazing venture to be able to pick up our TV station. And I also have a check here because I like supporting NACTV. It's been a part of our lives ever since we moved here. So I love Nipoa, and I became a Canadian citizen. So goodbye USA, I'm back here, I'm in Canada. Hooray, hooray, hooray. I also brought a funeral folder for you to have, because it talks about my husband and how he volunteered in the community, and we just love Nipoa. And I like to do some of the, get some of my DVDs taped. So Jeremy is my helper. So I ordered 7 DVDs. So here is a check for the 7 DVDs that he made for me, and a check for $100. So a check for $170 for. I would love to be a part of NACTV, but I'm afraid I can be in the background. I used to go around to the businesses and or call them and tell them I'm coming around. How much money do they want to give to NACTV? And when I'd go around and see them, say, okay, here comes Jean with her hand out again, you know. But I raised a lot of money over the years for NACTV, and I'd love to do that again, but I could do the calling, but somebody'd have to go pick up the money, because I'm 86 and I'm having some health issues with my heart or whatever, so I have to learn how to keep my mouth shut. But I had to talk tonight because I love what NACTV is doing, and I remind people that this is coming on, and they'll sit and they'll watch a program and they say, did you see it? I said, yeah. So anyway, thank you for all you do, your volunteering. It means a lot in the community, and I will just be able to support you, but I'm afraid I can't volunteer as much as I'd love to, but I've got to take care of myself. Or you might be coming to my funeral, and I don't want to. I'm not in a hurry to go. Okay. God's blessings. Thank you for you to come back to Newport. It's a good place.
Yes, it is a beautiful place.
Okay, I will say for the record that there's 2 things that I've learned out of Jean's speech alone. Number 1 is be a part, not a part. I like that. And number 2 is learn to keep your mouth shut. I've still got some learning to do. Anyways, does anybody else have any comments, questions? Anything? Oh, Easter.
Bill, can we do
Karaoke?
like
Sure.
fundraisers?
I'm sorry?
Can we do like fundraisers where you like sell tickets?
We have been, at a board level, we've been kind of tossing around some fundraising ideas, and one of them was bringing back the talent night show. I don't know if it was just not marketed properly or just not received as well as we anticipated, whatever, but you know, it was a new idea that we wanted to try, and we went to move forward with it, and we will continue to look at new ideas and whatnot. So if there's any ideas that you have in regards to a fundraiser, please feel free to contact us, whether by telephone, by email, however, stop by the office, whatever you like.
Join the board.
Join the board. Hey, there's an
I
idea.
have an idea I'd like to talk to the board about.
Why don't you and I sit down and talk about it after this meeting here, and I'd love to hear your ideas.
I started on Nactv years ago. We were in Equaz, Access TV.
Okay.
About 45 years ago, I started going out in the community and doing a church service every morning. It was kind of raw, but we brought it back, and I put it on at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and we had a dedicated amount of people watching it, and I was with Nactv. We used to have a night like this where we would go to Brandon, and all the Westman community groups, Bertle and all them would come. Well, we couldn't, our videos couldn't compete against Bertle because the two teachers up there, Ron Samchuk, he's a professional, and he still is up there. But we had a fun night. There would be likely at the Victoria in Brandon, 300 people turn up to an awards night. And it was, you got award, they'd show scripts of your videos, and then they would talk about it, and then they'd say, now 3, 2, 1, and then who the number 1 was. And something like this, when I see it tonight, I didn't realize what was going on. And of course, I went to see Leeway the other day to volunteer for doing bingo. And I want to get back on doing video work like that. So she said, well, why don't you come to our IGM on Thursday night? Oh, so I got a nice invite from there, and I just sort of, it's not a great, you wouldn't get real rich out of what my thoughts are, but it would bring some money in, I'm sure.
To some degree, yes, making a profit does have its importance in it, but it also does have to be fun, you know, and it is one of those things where if you enjoy doing this kind of stuff, then it's not going to seem like work or anything else like that. So new ideas, fresh ideas, I think that's amazing. I think that's awesome. I'd love to hear them. And so, like I said, why don't you and I sit down after the meeting, and more than welcome to relay the details, or you're more than welcome to email, phone, or just let us know. And if it's an idea, then let's bring it to the board and let's talk about it. Okay. Be on the board, and then you can present it yourself and vote for it. Yeah. Thank you for your comments. Anybody else? Going once. Going twice. And let's move into the election. So, as of this moment now, any of the board members that have served in the last year, you have been temporarily relieved of your duties until we come back around. So, we're going to accept nominations for the board of directors for the 2024-2025 year. So, do we have any interest on the board besides myself? I will be serving another year.
Ask your current ones if they'll serve again.
What's that?
Ask your current ones if they'll serve again.
Would you like to serve another year? Would you like to serve another year? Danielle, pay attention.
Will you let your name stand for another year?
Yes.
Okay.
John?
Member at large.
Member at large. Okay, we can accept that. Karina?
In some capacity.
Member at large. Okay. So,
Nominations from the floor.
nominations from the floor. You are allowed to nominate yourself, or you can nominate someone else. Christine has been nominated. Christine, would you be willing to stand up? Would you be willing to join the board? Okay. Thank you. Do we have any others?
I would like to nominate Kathy McGrath.
Kathy McGrath. Kathy, do you accept? Yes, Kathy accepts. Thank you very much. How about that big table over there with so many people in there? There's got to be one of
It's
us.
an excellent time to join when there's other new people as well, and you'll all learn together.
So the question has been asked once. I will ask for a second time.
I nominate Rose.
Rose has been nominated at the next meeting. And that can go with anybody here. If anybody here is curious as to what a board meeting is all about, you're more than welcome to just let us know that you'd like to attend one, and we'd be more than happy to have you in.
I believe we have another nomination.
John Luigi, our road expert.
John Luigi, do you accept the nomination? Thank you very much. So I believe I've asked twice now?
One more time.
One more time. Final call.
I'll nominate Blair.
Blair.
You've got great ideas. I think really strongly believe that you can access
All right. Blair is accepted. Thank you very much. Are more than welcome to enjoy the rest of your evening. Do we have a motion to adjourn this meeting?
Done.
By John. Seconded?
Don't need it.
Don't need it. Adjourn. Thank you.